Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Abhinav Mathur, who is the founder of Capi Machines, which is the leader in coffee equipment business in India. Hi Abhinav, welcome
Right.
to ELI.
Thank you so much for having me. Look forward to the interaction, Peerajan.
To start with, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience, please?
My name is Abhinav. I am now the founder of a venture called Something Brewing, which is the company is called Capi Machines. We'll speak about the e-commerce portal. Let me speak a bit about myself. Uh, I am basically an engineer. I did my MBA from XLRI Jamshedpur. Was in the corporate world for a good 10 years. Have been part of MNCs like Philips and Black& Decker. Um, a marketeer by heart, but I've through my journey, I have been part of sales, marketing, operations, service, supply chain, all kinds of roles. And here I am, part of a very interesting venture, and excited to speak about that going forward.
Tell us about it. Tell us about the venture Capi Machine and something is growing.
So, let's speak about Copy Machines first. So Copy Machines is about a 15-year-old company. So it's been there for a while, and the main business of the company is to provide great coffee gear, great coffee equipment for cafes. So it was founded in 2007. It was a time when India was going through the initial burst of new cafes set up. So Barista, Cafe Coffee Day. These are brands which the newer generation may or may not identify, but these were the ones which actually started the coffee revolution in India.
Hmm.
So they were just expanding, and there was need for a good, high quality company to come in, which can train the baristas, provide the right kind of equipment, provide after sales service, so that these businesses could expand and grow to more cities. So that's how Capi Machines was formed. It's an Indo-German venture, joint venture. Um, the idea behind the company is that we get the best-in-class products from all around the world,
Hmm.
and those are offered to these coffee businesses. So over the years, we've been able to cater to most of the large and small coffee entrepreneurs who have come into business. Um, you know, right from Coffee Day to Lavazza to Tata Coffee, most of the companies they buy coffee equipment from us. So that business has been there for a good amount of time. Which brings me to Something's Brewing. Now we all know during the pandemic what happened was that the F&B industry went through a huge
Hmm.
churn and difficult times. A lot of our customers' places were shut, and there was no business. It was a very difficult time for the entire industry. And so, of course, for a company like us, our coffee machines is a business that you invest in when you want to start a cafe. Now when you see cafes close down or around you, who wants to start a cafe? So of course our business went through an extremely difficult time. uh, but inside every such challenge lies an opportunity. So when life gives you lemon, make a lemonade. So that's what we did. As a team, we came together, and this was peak lockdown, around April 2020, and going, around that time when we said that uh, our end consumers, the people who love to have a great cup of coffee, who love to go to a cafe to have that cup of coffee, are missing their cup of coffee.
Hmm.
And what can we do about it? And from there was born the idea of Something's Brewing. So Something's Brewing, we imagined as a place where a person sitting at home can buy coffee gear and make coffee at home. This was the time when, if you remember, a lot of people were experimenting with
Right.
foods. Social media was full of interesting concepts around DIY cooking. Dalgona coffee was a big hit. So this was exactly the time when our venture started to take shape. And the idea was that people who are missing brewing coffee or missing having coffee, they can brew their own cup of coffee. So what Something's Brewing is essentially a platform, an e-commerce platform where you can uh, gain knowledge around coffee. You can attend a masterclass, a session to learn about coffee brewing.
Mm.
You can buy coffee gear. So if you want to buy a French press or a mocha pot or any of the other interesting products that are available for making coffee at home, an espresso machine, you can buy that. And once you buy that, you can also buy coffee, roasted coffee, ground coffee from the same site, buy a subscription. So we solve your entire, home brewing needs in one place. So that's essentially the concept behind Something Brewing. It's an e-commerce platform about all things coffee.
Okay. Uh, Take us through the initial days of your entrepreneurship. If you can tell us how the transition happened from a corporate career to entrepreneurship
Yeah,
and why it happened.
yeah. Yeah, so it's an interesting story. So yeah, I was very happy in my corporate roles. I was part of Philips, a large multinational. I was doing some marketing assignments there. From there, I moved to a company called Black and Decker, again a multinational US-based company. I shifted to Bangalore, and incidentally, the apartment where I used to stay was the same place where Sachin Bansal of Flipkart used to stay. And so when Flipkart was launched, we were one of the initial companies to start listing our products on their site. I was very interested about what's happening with e-commerce. Before that, I had also seen the growth of large format retail concepts like Big Bazaars and Chromas. Now we see them everywhere.
Mm.
But when I was in consumer durable companies, that was also a new thing. But then we saw this rise of e-commerce. These were very, very initial days for Flipkart. But having such a interesting startup, one of the first real big startups from India, so close to where I stayed, and seeing them every day, seeing the number of people who go to the office grow as we used to, go there for meetings.
Mm.
Of course, it triggered the entrepreneurial bug inside me. I would say I'm not the full blown risk taker that a lot of entrepreneurs I see, and I really admire them for what they are capable of doing. I think it's also a life stage matter. So I started on my entrepreneurial journey later. So what I decided to do was, look, I don't have any great idea right now, but I
Mm.
love the startup space. So I ended up taking a senior position in a startup.
Okay.
So I in Delhi, and it was incidentally also into coffee. So this was India's first coffee capsule company called Bonhomia.
Mhm.
And then I had to go through the typical life cycle of a startup employee, not so much a founder, but I was a senior employee. Reached the space, new city, family back in Bangalore. Yeah, I'm used to doing things in a certain way. In a big company, there are functions, they take care of your travel, everything. So DIY everything from day one. And I was told that, okay, you launch the products for the company, but beyond that, can you also set up our warehouse, and can you also set up a service team? So I had no idea how to do that. So yeah, like a typical entrepreneur would. So I just went and found a space and set up a warehousing for the company, set up service, traveled, launched products. Was a brilliant 2.5 year assignment there. The company went through some troubling times, so I had to move out. Came back to Bangalore, but by that time, um, my risk taking appetite had gone up significantly. So
Mm.
while a lot of my colleagues were still part of multinationals, I could never join back in such a role. I'd seen too much independence and flexibility and possibilities to go back to a standard role. Uh, so then I did stick around in a company for a few months, but then the assignment at Capi Machines came. So again, this was not a typical startup, but I was given the role of heading the company as CEO. Uh, So I thought, what better than this? You get paid and you still get to operate your own company. So it was an easing into being part of a business and launching a business. And from there is how Something's Brewing emerged, which is essentially my venture. So my transition from a corporate employee to a startup has been slightly different from just leaving everything and staying at home for 6 months and launching a company. But yeah, it's interesting in its own way.
What is the current scale of operation of both Capi Machine and Something is Brewing?
So Capi Machines is a fairly stable company. It's been there a few years. We went through a fairly bad year 2 years back, but since then we've come back. Right now, it's around 100 employee company. We have 4 offices: Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad. We have service engineers, we have sales team members, and we take care of a lot of these large cafe chains, including Starbucks, McCafe. On the corporate side, we have WeWork as one of our customers. We have ITC hotels. So we take care of a lot of such customers, and it's a fairly stable business. We are between $7 to $10 million in terms of revenue. So it's a stable business. Something's Brewing. We started from zero. It was launched on October 1st, 2020. Again, this is around the time the pandemic was again trying to peak. But um, 1st October is International Coffee Day. We thought it's a great time to launch the platform. And from zero now, we are close to $1 million ARR within a year of existence. So we are getting there. It's some time to go. It's a small team. We're about 20 employees strong, but we have a large ambition. We think there's a big space which is coming up for home brewing. Interesting to see what's happening on the home brewing side. So all the brands you see in coffee which are emerging, names like Blue Tokai and Third Wave, and
Mm.
all these Araku in Bangalore. So all of these brands are new brands. So the dynamics of the industry are significantly changing. Earlier, India used to export most of its coffee. Now, with so many interesting brands coming in,
Mm.
you see a lot of passionate coffee people start their own coffee brands. So globally, this is also going on. It's the specialty coffee, revolution, where a lot of attention is being given to high quality coffee. So from that are emerging a lot of these brands. So these brands, you can call them D2C brands. They sell from their portals. They also sell from Amazon, places like that. But at Something Brewing, we feel that a consumer now has too much of choice, and they don't know how to decide which coffee is good for them, which brewing method is good for them. So we curate that for them. So as the coffee industry is growing in India, we believe both our B2B and B2C businesses have a very good chance of succeeding, because we are growing with the growth in consumers having better coffee, and more new brands coming up in the market.
Can you tell us what are the different challenges that you have faced along the way while building and growing both of your ventures?
Sure. So I would say the number one challenge for a company like us is uh, managing talent and retaining talent. What happens is, uh, coffee is a very interesting subject. Very a lot of very passionate people who come and join the industry. But we do run a business. So many of these people are, while they're very passionate, we have to bring in the right kind of processes. We have to train them. We have to motivate them. We have to teach them how exactly they can become better professionals. So that's a big challenge which I see. Also, as the industry is growing, we also see a lot of requirement of good talent in the coffee industry, and of course our company becomes a poaching ground for a lot of these new age brands. So we have to do a lot to retain our talent, to show them what all possibilities are there. So people management, I would say, is one of the top challenges in both the companies. Beyond that, it's just about showing the team what the vision is and what we are trying to achieve. To clarify that vision on a day-to-day basis, to see how the culture is forming in the company, and people are free to take whatever risks they want to take to grow the company. An entrepreneur's journey is a lonely journey. If there is only one person in the company thinking about growth and driving the vision, it becomes difficult. But when your entire team is with you and all of them are thinking in on the same lines, you have a lot of minds to discuss and to do things, to experiment. So that's where most of my effort goes, to show the vision to the team, to discuss, to get challenged myself and to challenge others on what is possible, and then take the right path and move towards that.
You mentioned you achieved 0 to 1 million ARR in just 1 year's time with Something is Brewing. Can you tell us what worked really well for you? I think that is a significant growth any startup can achieve within 1 year's time frame. Any growth
Yeah.
hacks or anything that you discovered that really worked for you?
Of course, we have to time any startup also, right? So I think we did benefit from everyone being at home and everyone discovering a lot of new brands. So that helped us. We've on from day one, since it's a e-commerce venture, we have been extremely active on social media. Our entire premise is based on more and more people learning how to brew a cup of coffee. So what we did very early was, how do we get more people to brew coffee? That was the main challenge which we were thinking about. And we started conducting a lot of free workshops, master classes for corporates, for individuals, where we saw a lot of interest for people to come in. So that really helped gain that initial momentum, where people shared with each other links of the workshops, attended, learned, told others about it. And once you know a good coffee from bad, once you know how to brew a cup of coffee, you end up buying a product for yourself. So a good growth hack for us has been this conducting of master classes and workshops for potential home brewers. Also, we try and gamify that. So once in a while, and this was very difficult to do during the pandemic because everyone was at home, but we wanted to engage the community in some way. And we thought, why not conduct latte art contests? So you've been to cafes where a barista makes a nice latte art for you, but this was lockdown. People were at home. Not everyone had a coffee machine with them, but we just wanted to have fun with the entire community. So we came up with a format where we did some tutorials and told people how they can make latte art with their home gadgets itself. And that again was a big hit. A lot of people joined the latte art contest. They shared, and it's become now an annual occurrence for us. We are conducting the next latte art championship this June. So yeah, getting the community engaged, getting people to talk about Something's Brewing, collaborations with a lot of other coffee brands. Those are the areas which we have been working, and those are the hacks that I believe we have. One last point I would like to make on the growth hacks part is that we don't see ourselves as a pure play internet based e-commerce company. Coffee is a very experiential product. You want to taste, smell coffee before you buy the coffee gear. So from day one, we were very sure that we wanted to be omni-channel. Being an omni-channel wasn't an afterthought that after 5 years of operating a site, we'll open a store. Our first store was launched this last 1st October. Again, just as soon as we completed 1 year of Something's Brewing, we launched our first retail store. It's in Indranagar, Bangalore. And the idea was very simple, that it gives our potential customers, also our community, a place to come physically, meet, learn coffee brewing, see all the products physically. These are sometimes complex devices. You don't want to go online and just shop for an expensive product without seeing it. So this
Hmm.
gives people an option to come and visit us and meet us, learn about coffee, and then end up buying. So being omni-channel from almost day one is another very key part of our strategy, which we believe is helping us succeed. Already the store is generating independent revenues, and we see an opportunity of replicating this model in other cities as well.
Moving on to the personal side of being an entrepreneur, I think you would agree entrepreneurship is a intense journey, and as a human being, you are sometimes not up to the mark, not able to focus. And when that
Yeah,
happens, the business also takes a hit. So, can you tell us how
yeah,
do you manage to stay energetic and consistent over the time, and how do you manage to drive yourself and the team all
yeah.
the time?
Yeah, so the first slightly counterintuitive approach, which I will suggest and which has worked for me, is you can't be an entrepreneur if it is only about money.
Mm,
There are genuinely easier and simpler ways of earning a good living and being happy and enjoying life. By definition, if you decided to be an entrepreneur, you have taken a big risk, and you have to be ready for what comes along with it. So there will be good days and there will be bad days, and if the only measure of success is revenues and profitability and the valuation of the company, there will be a time when you are burnt out, because these numbers go up and down.
mm,
One advantage of starting up slightly later stage in my own life is that those life lessons are fairly clear to me. So of course, personally, I meditate, I exercise, I try and keep my mind stable and clear every day. I try and interact with a lot of fellow entrepreneurs, friends who have ventures, to to just learn their challenges and share whatever ups and downs I'm facing. So that helps a lot. Having a good ecosystem around you, friends and family, definitely also helps. But beyond all of that, uh, I feel so lucky and delighted that I'm getting to run my own company and have a community of customers and team members who are all going in the direction and trying to do something new and interesting. So that's what drives us. What drives us is creating a coffee community, and as long as that's happening, ups and downs in terms of revenues can be handled. So yeah, we fail a few times, some ideas don't work, but we always believe that we learned something out of it. And it's not me alone, it's a team, and all of us are equally passionate. So that helps. A few days if I'm down, somebody else will pick up the slack and take charge. uh, yeah, so those are the things which I believe work for me as an entrepreneur.
Imagine that tomorrow you wake up to find that your venture has failed, and it's not in existence anymore. So, what would you do?
Right.
How do you react, or what would be your next step?
No, I would still be happy that we were able to, and I've gone through it once. I explained to you that I was in a senior position in a startup which failed. Basically, we ran out of runway, and the team had to be disbanded, and all of that. So I've seen that once. So, but despite that, I decided to do it all over again. So it's fine. It's not so much about a particular business or idea. Ideas fail and succeed. You have to learn how to pivot and manage, and keep going. So I'm absolutely ready for any kind of failure that comes, because uh, I believe that we'll still be able to survive and do something else, or just with this team of people create something new. So it's the joy of creating something rather than just running a valuation game, which motivates me.
How do you manage your time on a typical day, or in other words, how does your calendar look like?
Yeah. uh, I'm not great at managing calendars, I would say, but I do. What I try and do is that I don't keep too many fixed appointments in any day. I really like to get into a subject deep and fully solve it before moving on, because so I feel that sometimes if there are 30 activities which you have to perform on a single day, nothing really moves forward in an impactful way. So the way I operate is very few meetings, planned meetings. Of course, customers walk in and there are interesting conversations. Excuse me, but few planned meetings and a lot of time to have deeper conversations with team members. First of my day, mostly I don't keep any meetings at all. It is time to introspect, to solve one problem completely. And then second half is more about meeting people, chatting up with people, understanding what's going on, and coming up with interesting ideas. So that's how a typical day looks. It's not very well planned, and of course it starts with a great cup of coffee, ends with a great cup of coffee and conversations all through. I feel very lucky to be in a space where you can enjoy what you're doing as well as a product. So yeah.
What would you say is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How do you define the term entrepreneur?
Yeah, these typical terms come to mind, risk taker, and but I would just say, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. Um you have to be patient, and you have to have business acumen. Entrepreneurship only works when you are clear about what you want to do, and you have a fair understanding of how businesses operate. Only passion won't get you there. Only business acumen won't get you there. It has to be both. And if there is a good balance of both, with a mix of little bit of patience, you have the right recipe for success.
My final question: what are the different lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur, which we can take away and probably apply to our ventures or our lives as well?
Yeah, so I mean, I spoke about it briefly earlier, but again, the main lesson for me would be, if you want to be an entrepreneur, first ask the question why. It's a very, very important and deep question. Why do you want to do it? If you're doing it just because you see a big business opportunity, you should, you know you are married to this idea for a good 10 to 15-year period. So don't do it just because you see an opportunity. Do it if you really believe in the idea. It personally appeals to you, because through the ups and the downs, you have chosen in an industry for yourself. You can't just get out of it one day. So yeah, that's what I would say. Be passionate, be very clear why you're doing entrepreneurship, and it's a long journey. It's a long journey, so be ready for the long haul.
Well, thanks for your time, Abhinav, and our best wishes for Capi Machine. Thanks for joining the session.
Thank you so much, Niranjan. Lovely interacting with you and your audience.